Hi, I'm Cormac.
And I'm Josh.
Welcome to the Living Project.
Be true, live wild.
Today's recording is brought to you from a boat moored on the Thames and a coffee farm in northern Thailand. The quality of the recording isn't as we would love it to be, but we really hope that you find the content exceptional. Enjoy. Hello and welcome. Thanks for joining us today. In this episode, Josh and I are joined by our ordinarily inspired friend, Sawang Thongdee, although everybody calls him simply Sawang, so we're going with that.
The aim of these interviews is to shine a light on the universal human journey and the epicness of everyday life. Sawang is a habitual adventurer, usually on his bike, and he's one of the gentlest human souls we know. Currently residing in Chiang Mai, Thailand, where he's working hard to establish a coffee venture called Nomad Coffee, his journey to where he is now is an interesting one. Born into a Thai Christian family in a largely Buddhist culture, spirituality is naturally just part of who he is. The launching of a coffee business has forced him to be static for a while, but I'm sure he's dreaming of future travels. The values he lives by and his approach to life are brave, loving, and inextricably bound up with the wild. A true nomad. We're looking forward to finding out more and sharing his story with you.
Hi Sawang, how are you today?
Hi, Cormac. I'm very well.
So, as you know, at the Living Project, we work closely with 4 elements of the wild: water, earth, fire, and air. Which one of these resonates with you the most and why?
I think these 4 elements actually are the components of everybody, of us human. No? We actually consist of also earth, water, fire, and air. So I think all are connected and are very important.
Water is one of the Living Project's core elements. It's reflective, and when we choose to listen, it reminds us of our journey and who we are. It calls us to account. Let's talk about how you got to where you are. How has growing up in Thailand with strong Christian and Buddhist cultural flavours influenced how you think and live?
I grew up in the Buddhist society, but my family, my parents, my grandparents, they were Christians. So I get used to both Buddhism and also Christianity. When I was little, when I was a boy, I went to church every Sunday and joined the church service and the Sunday school, and my parents made me also memorize the Bible verses. But in the end, you have to decide for yourself. So at one point, I made the decision to follow this path, this faith in God and the salvation and the grace of God. And also when I studied in the university, I chose to study biological science, and from that, it actually, from the complexity of life and how life function. For example, the cell, the one cell, it's perfect in itself, like that, and it's actually well designed, and that's, for me, is the evidence of something amazing that has to be designed and created rather than just come by chance, like that. I think, okay, let's say like the latest iPhone was designed and made by super talented people. So what about life? Is actually, living organisms are actually more complex than those. So I think it makes sense. And also from my experiences myself, with certain experiences, I get to believe that there is the power, the creator that is looking after my life, is care for me and love me, like that. But at the same time, growing up in the Buddhist society, I also learned many good teachings, many good philosophy about Buddhism. For example, the one that has have influence over my thinking and the way my perspective, my attitude is the living in this moment. That is the one of the main philosophies, Buddhism philosophies. Because if you try to, if you live in the future or you live in the past, you suffer. But as long as you can direct your mind in or your life into living at this moment, the suffering goes away. For example, I'm talking to you guys, but if I feel like, oh, okay, this is something I don't like and I would like to stop it, or I'm waiting for the time that the conversation will be finished, I already suffer, right? So to live in this moment is very important. And I think from what I learned, when you live in this moment, you are talking, for example, I'm talking to you guys, it means also that it's the best gift I am giving to you guys as well. Also, I think to let go of things in your life, this is also a part of Buddhism philosophy. But I think this kind of philosophy it also appears also in the West, but in the East, people pay attention more to it, whereas maybe in the West, people don't pay attention to these things as much.
In the time that I've known you, which is about 10 years, you've lived as a nomad. I think 6 months work followed by 6 months travel. And right now, you are fairly static because I know that you're establishing a coffee business, but also due to COVID-19. And I'm wondering, has this recent experience changed you? Should we expect a new Sawang as a result?
Yes or no. I think because of have been living the lifestyle you said, like work half of the year or maybe a little bit more, and then the rest of the time of the year, the rest of the months, I spend times travel without working, and it's been like that for over I think around 15 years already. This life pattern, work, come back to Thailand, and then go away after finish working here in Thailand, and then come back and go away and like that. So this year, since the pandemic started, I kind of have no choice. I would love to travel. I would like to go away like before. Some years in the previous years, I traveled up to 10 months like that per year, and sometimes 4 or 5 months per year like that. So I'm very much used to this pattern, and I love this lifestyle. But when you have to be in one place, and it felt like you are forced to, I'm forced to stay, not willing to completely live here. So it's quite a big challenge for me to have to try to adjust to this thing that I have to live without being able to go away on my adventure like that. But I think after 1-2 months, I started to also try to adjust and balance. I think it's now I'm trying to balance the logic, the reason side of myself and the emotion, the feeling sides of myself. The emotion is, oh, I'm feeling not so good, but the logic side, I cannot just cry like a child not getting ice cream because the mother don't pay for whatever reason like that, and stomp my feet like that. I can't do that. I can be childish. So I have to try to see that in reality, this happened, that happened, this is possible, this is not possible. So it does not make sense to just cry out like a child like that. So, and then I also try to, after that, I think after some months, I start to also try to think about what else are the lessons or are the good things coming out of the situation that I kind of don't like it as much like that. So I think I have learned so many things, so many good things about not being able to travel or do something I really love like that. So I think I'll share. It's a little bit, there are many things. Do you want to hear all?
No, perhaps I think what we would love to hear is maybe one of those things. What do you think is the most important lesson that you've learned from having to be static and not being able to do what your heart is telling you to do? What one thing?
Yeah, I think one of the things I learned is to be patient. The patience. I think um, when you are willing to wait until it happens, I think the the fruit of the patience is it's delicious. It's, um, for example, I will give the example about one time when I was hiking, trekking around the Annapurna circuit in Nepal. It took me 20 days. On the first half, I got stuck at one village called Manang. It's around 3,500 meters above the sea level because of the snowstorm. And I had to be there for several days, 4 or 5 days. And every day it was it was cloudy, it was misty, the snow fell, and it became thicker and thicker, and there was nothing I could do. But on day 5 or 6, I cannot remember. But in the night when I slept and with the snow coming down and I could see it from the windows, and when I woke up in the morning, um, I saw the clear blue sky with the sun shining, and I was I was very happy. I remember I ran around and then ran up to one of the paths like that, and just I was very happy. So I think learning from the previous experiences from my traveling to be patient is something worth to stick with like that.
I've heard that all the way through so far. Your answers, Sawang, is about this
Mm-hmm.
patience in the journey. And I think one of the things that I've just taken from those questions, your answers to those questions on water, is
Mm-hmm.
this understanding and commitment to the idea that something happens or you go through a process, but then there is the next bit which is for you yourself, and it's almost that, so this happened, that happened, so what? Like what am I going to do? Like what am I going to do with that? And your clear, journey of, reflecting on those things and conscious decision making and understanding that, learnings can come from those things, and that actually, particularly, it's probably more relevant over here in London, but patience is almost a dying art. And so that ability to wait, to hold fast,
Mm.
and to see it. So I really, I thought that was some really powerful reflection on your journey so far, Sawang. I'm really feel privileged to have heard it. I mean, it feels like there's a lot of real self-awareness and truth in that. So thank you very much.
So Wang, Earth is the second of the Living Project's core elements. It is where we ground ourselves, find security, and determine our beliefs. I'd love to get a little bit more into your relationship with the wild. You've been quite brave and adventurous in your life. You certainly don't follow the herd. Cycling across the planet and now digging the earth to grow your coffee. Does this signify a need to be connected to the earth, to be grounded, or is it about something else?
For traveling, I, it's just something I really love to do, to live for, and it happened actually. I did not know when I was a boy, a little boy, but I remembered when one of the teachers at the primary school asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up. I grew up like that. I actually wanted to answer my teacher that I want to become ticket collector in the bus because I can go from one place to another and can travel and like that. I can see the world like that, but I did not answer my teacher that what I wanted to say, but I just said, oh, I want to be a doctor like that. But so actually, I think traveling, the love of traveling, um, stays with me or has in me since I remember when I was a little boy like that. And when I grew up, when I got a chance to study, and then after finish studying, I get a chance to do what I love, and until now that I still love to do it. It's also the same with coffee. I started to like it, to to love it. I think several years ago, 5, 6 years ago. Before that, I was just a coffee drinker, and I love coffee because of the aroma, the smell of the roasted coffee, like that. But since 5, 6 years ago, I started to be more passionate, more interested in coffee, and since then, I also start to dig deeper into know more about everything about coffee, and there is still a lot more to learn about coffee. Um, but I think for both cycling around the world and growing coffee, another another side is more of um, they can be meditation for me. I'm not sure if it sounds funny or you understand this point or not, but I think when I ride my bicycle and in solitude, like in the remote places, I it's kind of like things I meditate. It's like meditation. It's something that is calming me down, and also um, with coffee, for example, today I worked in the coffee farm, and just doing things in the coffee farm is for me is like meditation. It's something that I find it calming me down. Like
Yeah, wonderful. Of course, we get it. That's why we ourselves go into nature in the wild and climb
yeah,
mountains and go running, because it
hmm
really puts us in that moment of now and it gives us a sense of calm and peace. So we totally get that, Sawang. Thank you.
You've told us about a time you cycled in China, and on reaching a summit, you got very emotional. Can you tell us a little more about that and why it affected you so much?
I think when I travel, many times they happen like the one I shared with you. When I was riding my bicycle alone, and then going up the mountainous road, and that time when I reached the top, in front of my eyes was the gigantic mountains. And I don't know, maybe, and I was crying. I was crying and crying and crying like that. But I think maybe because some people I talked to my friend, one of my friends, and he said maybe it's because of the shape, the triangle shape of that mountain, like the pyramid shape. Some people said that it contains energy, or it has some kind of energy that strike the inside of you like that. Or maybe the gigantic mountains, and when I see that mountain, very huge, very big mountain, I compare it with my own self, and I just feel so small. And when you feel small but you don't feel that you are worthless, you are small, but you feel like you're humble. Compare yourself with the greatness of that mountain, and with this feeling small, and you just feel like you reduce your ego. Sometimes you think you are somebody, and then when you realize that you are really small, you actually can let go, or you reduce of, okay, I thought I was this, I'm that, but actually we are not. We are so small like that. And also, I think I connected, maybe I connected with the faith that I have in God like that. The mountains are big, and the creator of the mountains is much bigger. And actually, I'm very small, but the creator of the universe is actually care for me. And when I think about being able to go away on the adventurous trip like this and live my dream, I'm thankful and I'm grateful that for this opportunity that I get like that. So maybe the combination of all those made me become very emotional, I think.
It does seem to me that you've got a very strong relationship with the earth, and your whole kind of connection with loving coffee and now making coffee yourself tells us that. And also this need you have to get on your bike and go explore other cultures and other places tells me that although the rubber underneath you is touching the earth, you're very much connected to it in that way as well, and you've seen a lot of it. But I think most of all, what I loved about what you said was, how in awe that that sense of being in awe of nature and the wild, which I think we all need, to actually feel a sense of our place in the world and our place in the universe, to feel small but connected. And also, as you said, just being in that nature and the mountain, it might make you feel small, but it also gives you a strong sense of belief that actually you can go out into the world and make your mark, especially as you've got these groundings in a strong kind of, based on your upbringing, your Christian faith and some of the Buddhist philosophies that you've been exposed to.
Yeah, thanks, Sawang. I particularly enjoyed the sometimes you think you might be somebody, and then the mountains or the wild shows you that you are just a part, and I really enjoyed that. Moving on, I'm sure you know that fire is our third core element. It's where the real alchemy of life happens. We ignite change, burn away the old, leave behind the past, and set fire to our dreams. While you are very calm, and your voice and the answers you're giving are lulling me into a grounded sense of peace, there's also a lot of fire in your life. particularly I'm guessing with all the coffee roasting. So after all the searching, have you found any answers, or is there still more searching to be done?
I think there are two answers. One is, I think all of us, or maybe most of us, try to search for peace, happiness, and good life like that. So I think with this, with this, with this searching, maybe in order to try to find happiness or peace, maybe it might be better. Maybe it's better to set up the expectation differently. For example, you don't you don't you don't try to find happiness, but you try to find the balance of your life, knowing that life has always this, like the fact that life has its ups and downs, and there are times that you feel good, that there are times that you feel bad, there are times that you worry about certain things, there are times that you're confident, like that. So maybe having the right expectation about searching for something, that the meaning of life, like that, it's more important than trying to find happiness. Because I think to find happiness, as human, we are not always, we can be always happy like that. So for me, I think maybe the right expectation, or the better expectation, is to accept the fact that life, what makes life more interesting is it has its ups and downs, and you just have to deal with it, and you have to find the ways to balance between the good and the bad things that happen to you.
As you know, I think you go on your cycling around the world, you're clearly going up and down mountains, there's ups and downs, and that might be your metaphor for finding your own balance. But it clearly seems to me, having known you for a while, that you finally found, I think, with Nomad Coffee and actually working the land, and actually growing your own
Yes.
coffee, and packaging it up and selling it, and trying to perfect that coffee. Seems to me that you've kind of taken on board your dream, and you've kind of taken on those learnings from the past, and you're really putting that into your coffee, and using that roasting and all that fire to make that happen.
I like that, Cormac. I'm yet to try some of your coffee, Sawang. I'd like to. But
Send me your address.
yeah, that's a challenge because I live on a boat. So just send it to Josh on his boat, and we'll work it out. Yeah, okay. So air is the fourth of the Living Project's core elements. It represents the space where you can, with real confidence, connect with others, demonstrate compassion, be your inner child, live in the holistic space of air. The one constant in your life appears to be your bike. What does the open road and travel with your bike mean to you, Sawang?
Yeah, as I told you, I love traveling, and actually before I started to travel by bicycle, I did travel other ways, like by bus, by trains, hitchhiking, by boat, by plane. I don't know, but now, like since 15 years ago until now, it's mainly by bicycle. For me, I think traveling by bicycle gives me the perfect speed, if I travel by bus or by train or by, I don't know, some other vehicles, it seems like it just go. And a lot of times, especially by bus, I just sleep. I slept and then I wake up and then I arrive in another place like that. Or by plane, it's even faster. So I kind of feel like I miss out the the in between like that a lot. So I think traveling by bike, it's the perfect speed. It's not too slow. It's not too fast, and I get to see things along the way more, enough, as I want like that. And another thing is traveling by bicycle. I feel it opened my senses. The senses open to the surrounding, um, the environment that I'm traveling through like that. So I can feel, I feel the cold. I feel the bumps of the bumpy road. I feel the heat like that, or I feel the wind blowing in front of my face like that. So this is also a wonderful feeling because your all your senses open to the environment, and it's also a low cost style of traveling, and it's a very good opportunity to to camp, and you get the gorgeous view usually, um, and also I think traveling by bicycle, it's something that you can connect easier with the locals like that, and of course it's the adventure.
Wonderful, Sawang. When I first heard about you, I'd heard that there was this guy from Thailand that was coming to the conference. And I said, "Oh, okay, great." And they said, "Yeah, but he's cycling from Thailand all the way to England." And I was like,
Yes.
"Surely not." Yes, he's even going to be cycling through Siberia. So obviously, at that point, I was really intrigued as to who this guy was, and really eager to meet you, which was when we finally did meet, which was wonderful. And I must thank you that for at that time you took me on a massive day trip of cycling around London, even through Trafalgar Square. Must admit I'd never done that before. I was quite scared, but it took a Thai cyclist to show somebody who lived in London how to cycle through central London. So
But you
that
were the
was
one also
wonderful.
showed me around as well, no?
Yeah, that's true. It was a wonderful day. We are coming to the close of this conversation, and we just have a final question, and then a little bit of a kind of a summing up.
Yes.
Yeah, I suppose, Sawang, this has been a conversation about your journey to where you are now, and there's obviously one could probably talk for hours and hours on one's journey if you chose to, but I think we've drawn out some really key, beautiful points that highlight the choices that you've made, and the way you've chosen to live your life. And with all those things in mind, I suppose my final question for you is, how do you feel about the
Yes.
future?
Hmm. I think for me, in personal, I cannot really change or know or control the future. But for me, I think it's likely that what I do today or I do now or behave now is likely to create my future. So, um, for example, if I today I eat a lot, tomorrow I continue eating, and eventually I will gain a lot of weight. It's the same. If I, with the body, with the mind, the soul as well, if I am trying to feed my soul, my mind, my soul with nutritious food for the soul, the good food, not the toxic food, it is likely that in the future, I'll be moving toward the direction that will make my life better, like that. And also, I think it for the future, it has something to do with put my trust in the one who created me, like that as well, so that with this I can find refuge. I can rely on not. Well, of course, I'm created in the way that I'm strong. I can do beyond my limits, but still certain circumstances or at certain point, I would not be as strong to fight with the hurricane or the tornado that come into my life or the earthquake of my life. So there is something to hold on to or to put my trust into, like that. So I think the future is about that.
Sawang, that is so wonderful. I'm just going to so wonderful talking with you. I feel like I've spent time with somebody who is present, and this what magical. So we hope you've enjoyed today's episode with Sawang. His story clearly tells us that the universal human journey is different and yet similar for us all. We all make choices, yet the closer those choices are to our truth, the better we are to ourselves and to those around us. The wild, namely the open road on his bike and nurturing coffee, has been a big part of Sawang's truth. What in the wild is part of yours?
See you soon. Be true, live wild. You've been listening to The Living Project with Josh Bulpin and Cormac Davey.
Enjoyed it? Please subscribe, follow, rate, and share with everyone you know. See you next time.
Be true, live wild.